Well, good evening, everybody. Ken Johnson here with you. And as promised, we are doing an update here on Facebook Live as of around 9 o'clock to talk about what is going on in the world of weather with our ice storm tomorrow that will be impacting us this time tomorrow. The weather data is in now, or some of the evening weather data is in, and it's coming in. So we'll be able to discuss that and talk about that a little bit more in detail here in just a moment. And then we'll try to answer some questions after that. So without further ado, let's get to the good stuff. Before we get to the model data, let's try to look at the radar to see, to kind of see what's going on across the area tonight. I can tell you that as of right now, there is no freezing precipitation ongoing in North Texas. That's not the case in other parts of the state, but at least where I'm at in Northwest Texas, there's no. Matter of fact, there was some clearing skies out there a little bit earlier on, and you can kind of see the moon for just a minute there. So let's go over and take a look at the radar data here. And you can see that area of purple down to the south of Wichita Falls. And this would be what appears to be some sleet. It's been quite a bit of sleet off and on today down in Dallas, and it's been the roadways have just been a mess down there. Looks like whatever's falling in Dallas now would be very, very light, maybe some light freezing drizzle or light sleet. Does not look like anything major down that way. Let's go down towards San Angelo and take a look at the radar site there. And notice how there's kind of a hole pretty close to the radar site there. So what's happening is a lot of that moisture that you see is aloft. It's not reaching the ground. So when you see a hole, it looks like there's precipitation coming and there appears to be a hole around the radar, that's a good way to tell it's high level moisture. It's not down at the Earth's surface. Remember, a radar beam is shooting up like this, and there's no low level return there to be able to show it there. But there might have been some sleet or some freezing rain there. Let's look out at Abilene and see what's going on out of Abilene. And there again, there might be some returns reaching the ground south, but most of the radar returns that we see across southwest Texas down towards Big Bend, these would be actual returns, probably seeing some precipitation down that way. All right, so let's change sources now and take a look at what's going on with our computer model data here this evening, and then we will answer some questions after that for you. I know you got a lot of them, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. So let's talk a little bit about the evening data. Now, there's not a lot of change in it. I have had a chance to look at it, and there's not a whole lot in the way of changes with it. Basically, just about the same thing. I'm going to start with the least of the models that I prefer, and we'll go to the one I'm more inclined to believe. So this would be the NAM model. Now, I'm just not a huge fan of the NAM model. It's usually it does good with temperatures, but it doesn't do good with precipitation. And let's put this in motion. I have not looked at this one yet. All right, so if you look to the south there, this would be around lunchtime tomorrow. That red area you see there would likely be some sleet trying to come in from the south. Freezing rain would be that purple area you see south of there. Now let's put this in motion. Now there that sleet is during the afternoon, and that sleet transitions over to freezing rain after that. And I can explain the dynamics in the process in the atmosphere that create that. This is into Thursday. This right here would be Thursday morning. So overnight, Wednesday, and early Thursday, there will be more freezing rain. Now, here's a scenario that I am looking at that I'm starting to kind of favor. On the backside of the storm system itself, there's going to be some wraparound moisture and a pocket of cold air. And this is different than the ice storm. But remember, the ice storm has your freezing temperatures are only at the Earth's surface. Above that, like 4,000 or 5,000 feet in the atmosphere, the temperatures are in the 50s. So the snowflakes melt on the way down to the Earth's surface. But with this scenario here on the back side, there's a thicker layer of cold air with it. So that could perhaps allow for us to see the precipitation to change over to some snow on Thursday, possibly, before it all comes to an end. By the weekend, by the way, we warm up. All right, so that is just the regular NAM model. There's a higher resolution version we're about to take a look at. First, let's see what the freezing rain accumulations are. The NAM is showing a lot of sleet, which I'm kind of buying that there could be a lot of sleet. So it doesn't have huge freezing rain totals across the area. In fact, it's probably the lightest of all of them, only about 0.2 of an inch. Even those areas we were talking about earlier today, about down towards Jacksboro and those areas, it's not even showing a lot there. So what does its higher resolution version show? Well, let's take a look at it. Remember, the NAM is bringing in a lot of sleet, which is the best case scenario for us. That limits freezing rain potential. That limits the freezing rain accumulation. So the 3K NAM, the higher resolution version, has sleet in the afternoon, quickly transitioning to some moderate freezing rain for a good while in the evening. And then again, as we head into Thursday, there's that little stored piece of energy I'm talking about, little rain mixed with snow on the backside of that. We should see temperatures, this Arctic air mass at some point is going to modify, and we should see temperatures begin to rise. In fact, that might even happen tomorrow night some. The 3K version, the high resolution version, gives us about, just under 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain accumulation here in Wichita Falls. Again, a lot of it is sleet. That is good. Let's hope that that trend does continue. Now, what I want to do is look at the high resolution rapid refresh model. This is a good model. It's the one that I usually go with in these situations. So let's look at it. This is the evening run of it. And there is your freezing rain and sleet area coming in. Look at that expanding, covering the area from Abilene over towards Lubbock, into the Metroplex, down towards San Angelo, near and north of Austin. Hill country getting hit. This would be about lunchtime tomorrow with that freezing rain and sleet overspreading the area. Now, it's trying to show some rain there too, but I don't think we're going to see rain. I think most of this is going to be sleet or freezing rain. Now, here's a scenario that the HER model is picking up on. Notice you have those darker blue, purple colors in there. That represents some areas of heavier precipitation. That would be the dynamics. The storm system itself is really starting to kick in there. So you're seeing some added lift, and that would perhaps foster some of the freezing rain developments. But you're also seeing what looks like some rain trying to mix in here with it. And that's into the morning. Then you see some sleet, and there's that pocket of cold air on the backside of it I was just talking about. So when you're watching winter weather processes, you're watching really, if you're a science teacher, this is a really good science lesson. You really get to see weather in motion. You're seeing the latent heat processes take place. With freezing rain, just a real easy way to be able to describe it is you're throwing warm water, a temperature of the water that's above freezing. Remember, rain falls to the earth as liquid. Sleet falls to the earth as ice. That's the difference. So you throw that liquid, that raindrop, all that water down to the earth's surface, and it's coming from a temperature which melted it of about 50 degrees. Now, I'm not saying the raindrop is 50 degrees, but it does. It's warmer than the surrounding environment. So as it falls into the earth's surface, and it tries to freeze, it starts to absorb the cold air around it, but at the same time, it also expels the warmer temperatures that are in it, so it'll freeze. So in turn, you have this process going on, and it can actually warm temperatures up. You know, unless you have a solid way to really, really, really keep the cold air in place. I'm talking about a good fetch of cold northerly winds, northerly flow of air to keep it in place, or you have a lot of dry air in place to promote evaporational cooling. Oftentimes, you'll see temperatures start out at one thing, and then but you'll see heavy areas of precipitation come through, then you'll see temperatures start to rise some. So I do think this is a scenario that could play out like that, that we may actually see temperatures try to rise a little bit at some point in time tomorrow night. You know, that would also help out too. You know, just a lot of factors come into play. with all of this. See, the HER model has freezing rain accumulations. Oh, shoot, I didn't want to do that. Still pretty hefty, but it no longer has those areas we're talking about down towards Jacksboro. But it does have some half-inch freezing rain accumulation amounts, you know, kind of up towards Wichita Falls and kind of back into the Seymour area and down towards Graham. And then it has some down towards the Metroplex, perhaps exceeding an inch. So that is certainly a possibility. I'm going to switch sources real fast and look at the look at some of the there's some other computer models called the WRF computer model. The WRF computer model, it is a good computer model. They're high resolution runs of some various different types of models. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good. So looks like I'm starting to get that little lag. And a lot of what I've discovered with these lag issues and these issues are just with this computer here. They just, it's got a brand new hard drive in it, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't handle the stream as well as it should. I need to get a new computer. I've got a Macintosh computer, but it doesn't operate. You know, I love the Macintosh products, Apple products, but it's good for business stuff and it's good for video stuff too, but it's just not compatible with a lot of this stuff that I'm using here on Streamlabs. So, but I wish I could use it. Okay, so let's take a look at a forecast loop. I mean, I can tell that everything is slowing down with this computer because my data isn't loading very fast, and it usually does. Seems like when I run Radar Omega, it seems to do this. And you guys always let me know if you are seeing any issues on your end. I am going to take it and turn my phone off and change it. You'll still get my audio though, but I'm going to change the resolution on my webcam. So maybe it'll help out some. So give me just a second to do that. Hi everybody. But you'll still hear me though. I've got a microphone now that I'm doing a lot of this stuff through, so that is good. All right, so I think it's back up and working again. So let's see. So let's look at some of this high resolution data and what it's showing here. All right, so let's go back to the weather information. I'm gonna put this back on my stand over here, so just give me just a second here. So we can have that up. And I'm gonna answer your questions in just a second. So this is the high resolution run of one of the WRF. There's 3 different ones I'm gonna look at here. And what you do, I know it's a lot of information and a lot of this, you're like, what in the world is he doing? And I know a lot of it can be very confusing, but you just look at it and get trends. This would be tomorrow night. It's showing widespread freezing rain tomorrow night. And then there's that little trend of some snow on the backside of the storm system on Thursday. So we may have to start adding some snow to the forecast there. Here's the NSSL run of the WRF model. This is the National Severe Storms Laboratory run of the WRF model. Out of all the WRF models, this is the one I would buy more than some of the other ones. So let's put this in motion. And again, this is evening weather data. And it does too show, you know, an area of sleet trying to make its way up our way in the afternoon. And it has some areas of freezing rain off and on tomorrow night. It does not really have much, but it does try to show a little snow on the backside of that on Thursday. So I think I'm probably going to wind up having to add a little bit of a forecast there to that. Here's one too. This is usually not a very good computer model. It usually is overdone. This is called the FV3 high resolution WRF model, but it usually has way too much. And then there we are on a Friday. It kind of changes things over to rain there. So, all right. Well, that's really it as far as model data goes. I'm not going to change much of my forecast here. I just don't see really a reason to change much of it. You know, you make a forecast and you stand with it. You don't just back off of it because of one model run. But it does look like some of this is going to fall asleep. And that could be a bit of a saving grace for us here in here in our area. So let's hope that that happens. Still looks pretty significant ice-wise. I still think there will be some tree damage and whatnot. This is the European computer model, by the way. It has heavy freezing rain. It really didn't bring much sleet, but this is not very high resolution, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But here's that precipitation area. It shows mostly as rain on the back side of that. So, all right, well, I am going to take the time now to answer your questions. Let's go to that here. And here we are. So let's do it. If you got questions, now is the time to ask them. And I know what you're going to want to know. You're going to ask me, what time do you expect all this to happen? You know, again, probably morning, and then picking up some in the afternoon and tomorrow night. If some of that weather data is correct, tomorrow night would be really bad. But we'll have to wait and see if it all plays out. I know you'll be out and about monitoring it for us, Darren, and thank you very much. And again, I think it comes in during the morning time. Probably sometime after 9 or 10 a.m. About after 9 or 10 a.m., Aaron. I still feel like those areas, Miss Jones, I feel like those areas down towards Graham and Jacksboro should get hit pretty good with some freezing rain. I think you're going to see mostly freezing rain down there. Areas further north and west may wind up seeing a good bit of sleet thrown in, and that will bring ice totals down some. I do think Thursday will be, actually Thursday may wind up being not as bad of a travel day because, temperatures are going to try to rise some. And even if we're at 31, 32, the roads are going to get just wet. So Thursday may be okay, actually. Again, 9, 10 o'clock, we should see some sleet and some freezing rain starting to move into Wichita Falls again. Maybe a little bit later than that. Bridgeport, freezing rain mostly. Tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. I try to be spot on, Moline, but sometimes I am wrong. Seymour will definitely get hit first. You're kind of in line mid-morning time frame. Yeah, I do think the roads will get bad pretty quickly there, Deborah, especially with that sleet. It'll just kind of be doing what it's been doing over the last couple of days, and last couple of days. But you start throwing freezing rain into the mix there too, and that's going to create some issues, especially on those bridges and overpasses. But hey, the good news is TxDOT's done a good job of keeping the roads treated, so we've done pretty good. And am I worried about it? Well, I'm concerned, yeah, but I would be if this were a slam dunk, just ice or just freezing rain situation, I would certainly be worried about it. But I'm thinking that there might be a little sleet in there too. But nonetheless, once you start seeing freezing rain amounts or ice amounts on those objects like trees and power lines, even if you get up to 0.2 or 0.3 of an inch, it can weigh them down and create some power outages. So there will probably be some damage and probably some power outages. No, I don't know what the exact. I saw something earlier today about how you are supposed to measure for freezing rain, but I don't remember what that is. But I know it's different than when you measure for stuff on the ground. So, but I don't remember exactly what that is. So. It's going to be a pretty slow-moving system, to be honest about it. It's going to stick with us into Thursday, really. But Thursday, one of those days where we might see the freezing rain try to come to an end, maybe, and then we see snow perhaps on the backside. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this either, Becky. Not at all. Yeah, well, like I said, Nancy, freezing rain falls to the Earth's surface as rain. It's just rain, and then it freezes after it sits there on exposed objects. Sleet falls to the Earth's surface as ice. It's like little pebbles. You know what? I had the athletic director, Cal Williams from Midwestern, that contacted me earlier today, Tabitha, and asked me a similar thing because they're traveling to eastern New Mexico, and was talking about going to Lubbock, and no, it doesn't matter what time you leave because the weather's going to get started down in Midland before it does here, and it'll be slick there too. I just cancel your trip. I wouldn't go unless you have to. If you do, just be really careful. I'd leave now. It's actually better to go now than to wait, because tomorrow, when that system begins to kick out, it's just you're going to see a large area of precipitation explode across the area. It's just going to be ice everywhere. It looks like a pretty rough day across the Lone Star State tomorrow. Eric, if you're traveling to Archer City or Graham, as long as you get down there and stay, if you turn around and come back, you're going to run into issues. So early on will be fine, I think. Yes, Jennifer Burke Burnett will get some. Freezing rain and sleet. Oh, thanks, Melinda. I'm working on the bugs, and a lot of what I'm working with now is just a computer that's not I mean, it's a great computer. This is a gaming laptop. I bought it for my son several years ago to run his VR on. He had one of those Oculuses before they had it was the wireless version. This was the version where you had to have a gaming PC to run it. And I bought this computer for him. I actually bought it off of, I think, eBay, I think it was. It was great to work, but that was such a big program that I think it just kind of ran it down. I've replaced the hard drive with an SD drive, and it appears to be working okay, but when we do things like this, it tends to kind of struggle some. So I think my laggy problems and my issue are more with this computer than anything else. Eventually, I'm going to get upgrade for a couple new computers, but for right now, this is what I have. What little hiccups I have will just have to be just little hiccups. I can probably take this to PC Pros, and they probably can update it for me. The webcam don't even work. I'm using my iPhone for this anyway, so. When can we expect you in another movie? I would like to have another movie. What people don't realize is, and I did talk about this on NIN 92.9 many years ago, being in Borat. It wasn't planned. It was just something that just randomly happened to me. But I've made, money-wise, over $20,000 off of that. That's just in royalties. I can only imagine what they pay the big actors. But, Eric, I'm ready to do another movie whenever somebody like Sacha Baron Cohen comes by. Yeah, the Storm Tracker will be out. We got Tanner DeLeon will be out in it tomorrow morning. We'll see. Garrett may do the noon. If I come in to do the noon show, he'll be out in it at noon, and then he'll be out in it at 5 and 6 tomorrow. We're gearing up for the big storm. We'll be here. I don't know if I'll be in for the noon show, but I'm planning for a long work day tomorrow and tomorrow night into Thursday. I'll be here for I told my wife tonight. I was like, you just get ready. I'm gonna be there for a long time. So I'm not looking forward to it. I don't know what the one was like, Jen, a few years ago, but power goes out. Now it'll be cold, so make sure you got firewood up at the house. Don, love you too. I appreciate you guys watching me. I really, really do love doing this streaming stuff. It is a lot of fun. I really connect with my viewers. I feel like, we're in the room having a conversation. Some of you I've seen and know personally, most of you I don't, but I feel like I know you personally by doing this, and be looking out for more things in the future. It's not just weather. We're doing other things too. And this is not directly associated with Channel 6. Some of it is, some of it's not. This is just some stuff that I'm doing. Yeah, Nakona, Texas ought to get some pretty good freezing rain tomorrow. But if we wind up getting a lot of sleet, that's going to limit the amount of freezing rain we wind up getting. And this is what makes forecasting winter weather so hard. When you forecast rain, and let's say I forecast between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, 3/4. Let's just throw out a number. Let's say I forecast an inch of rain, and it rains, and we get like maybe 1/2 inch of rain because something was off in the weather information, something was wrong with my forecast, and we missed it by about 1/2 inch. You don't notice that. You think I got the weather right. Oh, you got it right. You said it would. Well, yeah, I said it would, but I didn't get it exactly right because I missed it by half an inch. But you don't notice that. But if I forecast a half inch of ice and we wind up with getting like maybe 2/10 of an inch of ice, you might notice that a little bit more. It's really noticeable though when it comes to snow. Last week we're forecasting heavier amounts than we got, and things just didn't come together for it. But you notice that. Technology's gotten to where these days that we can get it right most of the time, but there are occasions that we still miss. But here's one. Here's the thing about weather too. People tend to remember the ones that we get wrong. They don't remember the ones that we get right. I can forecast the weather right 5, 6 out of 7 days. You don't notice that I got it right. But if I say it's going to be sunny on Sunday and 75, and it's cloudy and 55, you'll remember that one. So that's why weathermen and meteorologists get such bad names. Is number one, forecasting winter weather is what really gives us our bad names, to be honest about it. But it's a really hard thing to do. Really, really, really hard thing to do. So as we get into the event tomorrow, mesoscale, which means small scale features, will take over in the atmosphere, and you can't see those coming until usually the day of the event. So there'll be adjustments and changes with the forecast as far as accumulation amounts, and it just really depends on where the biggest stream of heavier moisture winds up being. It really depends on what temperatures wind up doing. Outside tonight, I don't think the temperatures have dropped any. I think we're still sitting at, down to 26. May drop a little bit. There's also the potential for a little evaporational cooling tomorrow at the onset of a lot of this. And, that might help bring the temperatures down some too. But like I say, when we get heavier freezing rain, it's going to have a tendency to bring that warmer air down to the Earth's surface. So it might cause temperatures to bump up some. All right, so let me see a few more questions here. Then I got to go. I got to get ready for the newscast here. Is the roads going to be bad tomorrow? Linda, the roads is going to be bad tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I know you meant to say are the roads. Yes, Linda, the roads are going to be bad tomorrow. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I was just playing with you. Would you travel, Jonathan wants to know, would you travel to Decatur, Texas from Nocona, Texas, about 8 a.m.? You should be okay, yeah. You'll be all right, I think. And you're welcome, Mary. Yeah, I know there's been some issues. I don't know what's going on with our tower, but I know there's been some issues with people not getting our signal anymore, out west especially. Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate it. And road conditions are I can't talk here. Road conditions will deteriorate quickly, especially with that sleet. It's going to pile up there real fast. And then once temperatures start to rise a little bit, then you'll start seeing that transition to rain. Now the freezing rain may not stick to the roads as bad as the sleet will. I don't know. If you think about it, though, if you already got that ice down there and you got water falling on top of that, it could just wind up being a big mess out there. That's why I'm just telling you, just don't get on the roads at all tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and early on Thursday. I do think that the roads should improve unless we get a burst of heavier snow on Thursday. But right now, I think that the temperatures are going to go up on Thursday. And hey, the weekend, I got 60s in the forecast and maybe even 70s by early next week. We're going to kick this stuff out of here, and I don't see any more big Arctic air masses heading our way anytime soon. So that is definitely some good news. All right, well, everybody, I do appreciate you. Weather alert radio, good to have and use that. Moline, weather alert radio is always good to have. It's always good to have one of those. They're not super easy to program, but they are great to have to get important weather information when alerts and warnings are sent. But these days, especially if you live in an area where you don't have good cell phone or Wi-Fi reception, these days you can get all that information on your phone. Whenever an alert is issued for your geographical area or the counties that you put in on our app, the First Alert 6 Weather app, it'll alert you. So that's also another way to get it. It's good to just always have many different ways to get weather information. Carol, bad weather, probably after 9 or 10 a.m., probably somewhere in there. Sleet first, and then freezing rain. All right, I have got to get ready for the news. As you can see, I still got my sweatshirt on here, so I got to get ready for the newscast. I will do a. You're welcome. I will do a Facebook Live on the News Channel 6 side of things, but I'm just gonna. It'll be pretty quick over there, and just kind of going through weather graphics. It won't be answering all the questions. Like I do on here. And I will have a Facebook Live, YouTube Live update again tomorrow morning concerning this weather information after I get up and kind of take a look at things and then get dressed and get ready to come into the station. So, and be looking for the stream off and on throughout the day tomorrow, because I'm going to probably do quite a bit tomorrow. So, if you're at home, if you're at work, wherever you are, I think most schools are canceled. Some schools are not. You can get the information. You're going to have to turn your alerts on, though. And there's a step. I think you just go to my page and you go right by follow, I think, and I think that you can turn your notifications on there. There's ways to do it. I don't remember exactly how to do it, but there are ways to do it. But you have to turn those on now to get alerts. If you don't, you won't get them. Thanks to Meta. You will on YouTube, though. Meteorologist Ken Johnson. That'll be easy to find over there. All right, guys, have a good night. Stay warm and stay safe tomorrow. Remember, keep an eye on things. Keep an eye on your computer and your phones. I'll have updates to let you know what's going on. If we do lose power, make sure you